Jedno ogłoszenie przed wykładem. Zapisy na Lightning Talki są na zewnątrz, na tamtej tablicy. Jak widzicie, zobaczycie. OK, can start next lecture.
Okay, hello. Thank you for coming to this prelection. My name is Pawel Skowron, and I've been a software engineer and technical lead for quite many years, working on many different projects with different technologies, environments, languages, and so on. Currently, I'm working at Intel Gdańsk, so this is, I believe, quite far from Szczyrek, but anyway, wonderful place. And I would like to talk to you today about the experience we gathered during the Glance Metadata Definitions Catalog feature. So this is a feature in OpenStack. And so this is about talking about the open source community collaboration. I'm going to first to talk a little bit about the OpenStack as an example of open source project. Then I would like to move to the description of the feature itself, the team, and then about the experience we have gathered. So I'm going to share the experience, and I hope that it will be interesting because that will be about contributing to open source from the commercial company. So that's, I believe, interesting perspective. And what is more, this is going to be a little bit fresh because I will be talking about fresh team. And the project itself is also quite fresh. It was founded in 2010. Okay, so OpenStack, this is, I believe, really a buzzword, but just to quickly remind what it is. So this is a software that allows you to develop a public and private clouds. This is funded in 2010 by NASA and Rackspace, and it's open source. So this is a free source. Free software under Apache 2.0. What's important? This is a software which is seen as a key player in a clouding environment. So that one will probably establish an industry standard for the cloud computing. And there are 2 releases of each year of the software. The last one was Icehouse, and we are just about around releasing the Juno release. And I will be talking about the Juno release. Okay, so let's have a look briefly through the numbers perspective. I believe that's kind of interesting. So, for example, you can find that you can see that for today there are around 2,000 contributors. So it's quite huge. And if you compare it to the last year, the number is kind of doubled. So it means it's not only big, but it's growing and it's really attractive. Okay, and I believe that some of you can find your company logo somewhere here. So this is because, just to show you that it's really living project. There are many activities around this project. And many areas that are addressed by different companies, like, for example, the IT services, DevOps, platform as a service, and hardware, software vendors, and so on. So it's kind of living thing. Okay, so today I would like to have a look at the OpenStack from the maturity perspective. So as I said, it's like quite fresh project, funded in 2010. So there are around 100 features each release added to the OpenStack. So it's growing in terms of maturity. But there are still some areas that need to be improved. So to just let this OpenStack to be enterprise ready. And just to name a few of them. So this is around the high availability, robust management, scalability and performance, but also around this user experience. The feature that we developed, and I will be using as an example during this presentation, is around user experience usability. So the feature itself is like, it's named internally as a graffiti. So it means that you can apply a tag or something to particular resources, like for flavors or host aggregates or images. So you can add, simply speaking, you can add extra information to a particular entity in the OpenStack. I will explain in a few moments why it's so important, but if you are interested in this particular feature, you can find some more information. There is a link provided. Okay, so the feature, the graffiti is not it's not a feature like from the scratch. It's rather utilizing the already existing functionality and just bringing it to the average user in a simple, unified, and easy to use way. Okay, and so let me explain why it's important to mark a particular entity in OpenStack with a proper extra information. So for example, if you got OpenStack, the cloud environment, and you'd like to launch an instance, the scheduler is picking up the node, the host, where your VM will be started. And it makes a difference what host is chosen. So if you can provide extra information, like, okay, I would like to make some decryption, encryption stuff, so you can apply extra information saying that you require hardware capability. And what does it mean to you? It means that you can run, for example, make the same work 20 times faster. So I believe it's important, it makes a real difference, because you can make your computation, if you choose a good node, a good host in your stack, then computing can be done much faster, and it means that you can save money. Okay, so let's have a look briefly about the structure, architecture, this feature itself. So it goes through the bottom. So there is a project called in OpenStack Glance, and we put there the database with definitions. So this is a definition, the dictionary of the extra information you can place onto some resources. We got some means to apply these resources, this dictionary's definitions to the database. And we, of course, have a means to expose that information as a REST API. We also have a Glance client just to access the information via the command line. And then eventually we got this horizon. This is the user interface in OpenStack. So we have a possibility to apply the information I just mentioned. So we can apply onto the flavors information that you want some specific CPU capability. And then you can pick up the better node. Okay, so how it looked like before Graffiti. So here you got this widget. As I said, this is not the feature from scratch, but it was possible before to enter the information. But I believe it's really hard to guess what to enter into these fields. And okay, so this is data which should be entered into the fields. So it's really hard to use. And okay, so and this is the new way of applying the same data. And on the left-hand side, you can see that this is a dictionary. You got the names. You got these names into some groups. You have information, description of these capabilities. Like you can have features of the CPU, and you have a way to search through these capabilities. So it's something completely different from the different approach, and you can just click plus from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, and in this way you can apply a metadata onto the, for example, flavors. So you can specify that you need an instance, for example, running on the architecture which is x86. You got some helpers, so you cannot provide like string values for the numeric fields and so on. So this is how the feature looks like today. And let me just mention about, so I said we are building a team in Intel Gdańsk, and most of the team members are experts in Python. Some of them has open source experience. I'm also a part of the team. You can try to find which one is me. You can also try to find some other team members across this room. I believe that what's really good at this being a part of this team is that you are doing coding the feature that makes a difference, as I gave you the example of graffiti. So it's really rewarding. Okay, and we are trying to recruit the best people, and to submit any code to the OpenStack, you need to be PEP8 compliant. So you cannot even submit a single line of code if you are not a PEP8 compliant. And for example, Roman came wearing this T-shirt into the interview, and as you can guess, he's working for us now. Okay, so I just went through this open source project which we are using. And now let me say a few words about what difficulties we found during the development of this feature. So first of all, the feature is like kind of complex. It goes into different projects, and if each of the projects is dependent on each other. What does it mean? So for example, it means that if we want to get this Horizon part, the GUI part merged, we need to have all the previous projects released. For example, Horizon requires the Glance client project to be released. And when it's released, we need to also add some additional requirements to the requirements project. And then Horizon can be reviewed and merged. And of course, before that, we need to have a base project. And this is something really difficult because, for example, the Glance project specification it took around 2 months to get approved only the specification of what we would like to do. So, and we did this whole feature within the 6 months. So the 2 months was just to have the specification approved. So what we did, we actually work in parallel on these projects, making some assumptions, but this was the key message to succeed with this chain of reviews. So we just started working on these projects in parallel. Okay, and another gotcha we had is about simultaneous activities. It means that this is quite a big project, and there are many people working on this project. And for example, we had prepared our widget, and it was looking pretty good. And then there was a change around Bootstrap 2, so there was upgrade of Bootstrap. And it happened that our widget looked really bad, so we need to rework. The other example is like, okay, so in Horizon there was introduction of X-static. So this approach is about applying third-party files, not putting it into the project, but having just them installed by the PyP. So again, a really good thing, but it meant that we had to redo our source code again. There are some other issues like this test random issue, which is described here. So at some point, it was decided to remove this line like Python hash seed, so make it more random, and this is again good for the test purpose. But it happened that the commit which removed this line was succeeded by chance, and then the next commits didn't succeed because hashes was generated without fixed seed, and then you had to be really lucky to have your code merged. So again, an example where the simultaneous activities can disturb your project. Okay, so now let me switch to something which is called the gating and automation system. And in general, I believe this is something really good. So I was even impressed that a project as big as OpenStack is working correctly. And this is because I believe, because this is good people are working behind this project, but also because there are automation and there are automated tests and continuous integration notion. So when it's working, it's good. When it doesn't work, like we were before, like 1 or 2 months before merging our product, our feature, and then we had some new exception. I will say a few words about it in the next slide. And we had came across infrastructure failure. What does it mean? So OpenStack has about 800 nodes to test, to make automated tests, and during the failure, half of them were working. And it means that just to merge the patch, it takes around 24 hours, compared to, I know, tens of minutes when it's working properly. So when you are just before the feature freeze and you need to merge your code, it makes it much difficult if just going through the gate, merge gate takes 1 day, it's really difficult. Okay, this, just to give you a real example, so this new exception, what happened with that? So the third-party library was updated, it provided a new exception, and this new exception just destroyed the tests, and it impacted a few projects, like client projects, and the people were talking about the solution, possible solution. It takes a few days to make it working again. So we had a situation like a week or 2 before merger, and 2 simultaneous failures at the same time. So it was really difficult to get your code. You spent a lot of time, and you would like to get your code merged, and it's failing because other work is not correct. Okay, so let me also give you an example how hard it is sometimes to get your changes merged into the open source. So let's use the Horizon project example. And in this case, for example, there was around 70 Horizon blueprints. This is a specification of features before the Juno feature freeze. And the PTL, the program technical lead of this project, estimated that around 20 of them will be merged. And then eventually our Graffiti Horizon part was with low priority. So it was kind of higher priority in Glance in other project, but in this particular project it has a lower priority. So it was extremely hard to, considering this situation, to get it merged. I will share with you how we did it in a few minutes. Okay, so I also promised you to talk a little bit about this open source and commercial development. And so what we are doing in Intel, it's something like commercial free software. I believe this sounds really weird. I mean, this is commercial and free. But if you go to this page, the GNU page, and see the definitions of the open source software, you will find that this commercial means that the software is done within a company, like Intel or another company. The free means that this is a free software, the open source software. So this is most likely the correct name, like commercial free software, open source software developed within the company. Okay, so what we observe as a biggest, challenge, difference between, let's say, open source developing and commercial developing, it is about timing. So, for example, as you can recall, there is a chain of projects and the source code, and we would like to merge all of the parts of the feature, and we are talking about the first very base project, like the Glance one. The guys said to us something like, okay, you can merge this part into the OpenStack this release, and the next release you can merge the user interface part. And this I believe shows the difference between the, let's say, open source and the commercial approach. We were struggling to get it merged. We had some internal company deadlines and so on. So we are really wanted to have it merged. We were asked for guys from at least some guys from the OpenStack, they didn't see a trouble to postpone a part of it. Okay, and another comment on the around open source and the companies is that if you go to the Stackalytics page, there are many people that are from companies. So the most of the contribution is done by the companies. And what does it mean for if you want to push your change into the project? Is that you can that there are different people from different companies, and companies have different priorities. So it's sometimes hard to get it through because there are different priorities across companies. Okay, and a few words about reviews itself. So just before going to the to some difficulties we found around reviews, let me just explain. So this is OpenStack main branch. You are just git cloning, branching, making changes. And you are doing git review to expose your code to the chain to reviews. And you can get like this +1 or +2. +1 means it looks good to me, but someone else needs to have a look at the code. And +2 means that you need 2 + 2 to get the code merged. Okay, and what we quickly found around the reviews is the fact that there are some patterns you need to follow. So, for example, take care about unit test coverage, take care about the formats of commit message, and so on and so on. So this is something that we quickly learned. And then let me just share a few issues we found around reviews. So for example, continue small -1. So it means you are giving your code to the code review and you are receiving -1, and then you making the change and review it again, and you got -1 for other file, and so on from the same reviewer. So it just takes much more time compared when you got all comments at the same time. There are also like questionable -1. And what does it mean? It means that there are many people and people have different opinion, so you can get some -1 just because you got a different point of view with the reviewer. Another comments which is difficult to deal with is like code is complex. So we try to make it as simple as possible, but then the code needs to make its job, and sometimes it's just complex. Okay, and we had problem because there was a vacation period, and of course the list of core reviewers, which means the main reviewers in OpenStack, is sometimes is longer than the core reviewers that actually do the job. Okay, this was and let me share. I believe that the good practice we worked out around getting reviewed many lines of codes. So you can see there are quite huge numbers, like I know Glance 11,000 of line of codes, and to get it merged, it is extremely difficult in OpenStack, and I believe if in another open source project. So what we did, we split the changes into the different parts. So this was the first approach. Then we have this Google Hangouts with the core reviewers, so we could sit together and look at the same code at the same time, and we can share with them why we, for example, use some code and what's behind this code and idea and so on. So it really accelerates the knowledge sharing. And then, of course, it's better to work on the good feature. It means that if community is interested in your feature, they will be likely more happy to give you a hand with reviews. Okay, and I believe this is the most important part we learned. This is about a relationship. And we work together very closely with HP company to develop this Glance Metadata Definitions feature. And it was really helpful to keep the momentum going. We had, for example, a situation like we worked together, and for example, the PTL of Horizon was sitting the next decks of one of the guy involved in the feature development. So he could just go to this person and talk to him like every day, and it's really helpful. It's much more efficient than I know IRC messaging and so on. We used like tools to efficiently collaborate. This is about like 2 times a week meetings, sync up meetings, again with possibility to look at the same data at the same time and exchanging thoughts, and using Google Hangouts, using IRC, Etherpad, and every collaboration tool. And the last, we work in the project on which the sun never sets. It means that we work in US and in Poland. So considering time zones, we are almost all the time someone was at work. So it was also helpful, especially in the situation we had this 24 hours waiting period for the merger. Okay, and I'm far away from defining the success recipe based on just a case study. But if I were to share with you any tips or what we've learned, and I believe was really helpful to make this feature success, I believe this is about, okay, so not only push the idea, but also to discuss with community. So we had our own idea with the other company, but then we exposed this idea to community, and we had discussion with the community. We changed our concept just to bring the value to the broader audience, and I believe this is really something important. Hangouts, the Google Hangouts with key people, I already mentioned about this. A good relationship, the same. If people know you by name, then it's much easier and efficient to collaborate. Coordination, we had quite complex feature, and we used the tool I mentioned, and it was, I believe, crucial to get it done. And finally, visually present your concept. So what we did, we have some concept, and we make a mock-up, so people can see what we would like to achieve. And this is, I believe, important to have graphically, visually, be able to present concept to the broader audience. Okay, so let me just summarize, conclude. Graffiti, the feature was delivered in 6 months. And was seen as a great success within company. And it's like, because we presented the concept during the Ice House summit, and then the next summit 6 months later, the feature was merged. It was seen as a really quick feature development phase, and it's even now used as an example for other future development. And what's important, we have fun. We had fun not only because we make a change which really changes the OpenStack and enables user with easy-to-use interface, but we also have we also had fun because we enjoy. Okay, let me just move on to slide now. So I know that there are some unjustified jokes about software engineers, like the difference between the introverts and the extroverts. The introverts software engineer looks at his own shoes, and the extroverts, in this case me, is looking at the other party's shoes. But I believe this is completely not true, and at least some of us really enjoying the fact that we could collaborate with other people. And not only because we did some great job from the technical point of view, but we could also collaborate with other people. Okay, so thank you very much, and I would be more than happy to answer any question you may have.
Hi, my name is Roman. So, well, I have all right. So, it's not actually a question, but like an addition to something that you said. So, you have said that it's quite important to have nice relationship with the community. And if I were you, I would put that in the first place in your list, because Well, I was an active contributor to OpenStack project for more than a year, and I know several bad examples when people just managed to had some bad arguments in the community. And after that, they just couldn't merge any of their changes, any of their code. People just did not accept any of their work. And so it's not only like having good relationships with the key people. In open source project, anyone can go and put a -1 to your code, and your code is never going to be in the upstream. So having a good relationships is a must. So.
Yeah, totally agree. Thanks.